There are beginners who squeeze the clutch at every red light so hard it looks like they're training for a world finger gymnastics championship. It's unnecessary exercise and pretty expensive. The worst part is that nowadays, 80% of riders are burning up their clutch plates without knowing it because of completely wrong advice from the internet. Today we reveal the fatal mistakes that destroy your transmission and safety. Don't skip error number 4, because it's the one that will cost you the most money. Let's begin. Error number 8. Holding the clutch in at red lights with first gear engaged. I bet you anything you've done this sometime this week. You're stopped at a red light, you have first gear engaged, and there you are holding the clutch lever in for entire minutes, waiting for it to turn green. Sounds familiar, right? Well, let me tell you what's happening inside your bike while you do this. The diaphragm spring and the thrust bearings are under constant pressure. It's like someone asking you to hold a 20-pound weight with your arm extended for 5 minutes. It seems easy at first, but eventually you're going to collapse. The same thing happens to your clutch. System fatigue, plates that start to slip, and eventually a complete failure. And do you know how much it costs to replace a clutch? Between $200 and $500 depending on your bike. It's not pretty. The solution is so simple it hurts. If you're going to be stopped for more than 5 seconds, put it in neutral, release the lever, and give both the system and your hand a break. Your bike will thank you, and so will your wallet. Besides, neutral doesn't bite. It exists precisely for these situations, so use it without fear. Error number 7. Releasing the clutch abruptly when starting off like it's a missile. I see this mistake all the time with new riders. They start from a stop and bam, they release the clutch like they're launching a missile. The bike lunges violently. You look like a beginner, and the driver behind you thinks you don't know how to ride. But here's the real problem. That abrupt movement causes a violent jolt throughout the entire transmission. Think of your gearbox gears as dancers trying to synchronize, but you're punching them instead of letting them dance together. The result is imprecise starts. The engine bogs down, the clutch plates wear prematurely, and the system overheats. Here comes the golden phrase that changed the way I ride. You don't release the clutch, you accompany it. You have to find the friction zone. That magical moment when the bike starts to move, and then coordinate a smooth dance between the throttle and the clutch. You roll on the throttle slightly, release the clutch gradually until you reach that friction zone, feel the bike start to pull, and then keep releasing while giving it more gas. It's a tango, not a heavy metal concert. Practice this in an empty parking lot until it comes naturally. Your bike, your back, and any passenger you have behind you will thank you. Error number 6. Going downhill with the clutch half pulled, thinking it gives more control. This one is sneaky because you think you're being smart. You're going down a hill, and you keep the clutch half pulled, believing that gives you more control over the bike. Sounds logical, right? Well, let me tell you something. You're frying your clutch like an egg in a frying pan. What's really happening? You're disconnecting engine braking, that natural brake the engine gives you when you roll off the throttle. By keeping the clutch half pulled, the internal plates are constantly slipping, generating friction and heat is the #1 enemy of any clutch. It's like rubbing your hands together quickly. Eventually you're going to feel the heat. Well, your clutch feels that heat multiplied by 1,000. Plus, by canceling engine braking, you're forcing yourself to rely solely on the conventional brakes. You're working twice as hard to control something your bike can do naturally. The correct way is, before starting the descent, shift into a lower gear. If the slope is steep, downshift from 3rd to 2nd, release the clutch completely, and let engine braking do its job. If you need more control, use the front and rear brakes gently in combination. It's that simple. Your clutch is designed to connect and disconnect, not to live in no man's land. Error number 5. Not knowing your clutch's friction zone, that magical moment. This one is fundamental, and many riders have no idea where the exact point is, where their clutch starts transmitting power to the rear wheel. It's like trying to play guitar without knowing where the notes are. Without that knowledge, you end up with imprecise starts where you're fumbling blindly, abrupt gear changes that jolt you like you're on a roller coaster, and slow maneuvers where the bike moves like a broken robot. The connection with your bike feels clumsy and artificial. But here's the good news. Finding that magical moment is easier than you think. Find a slight slope. Position yourself there with your bike in first gear, the clutch fully pulled in, and without touching the throttle. Release the clutch very slowly, and you will feel the exact moment when the bike tries to move forward. That resistance you feel in the lever, that change in engine sound, that's your friction zone. Do it 10 times in a row, until you can find that point with your eyes closed. Memorize how it feels in your hand. Once you master this, your starts become precise, your shifts become smooth, and your reactions become instinctive. It's the difference between fighting your bike and dancing with it. These first mistakes are the most common and generate the most wear on the clutch system. They are habits that seem normal, that everyone does, but that are condemning your clutch to premature death. From holding the lever in at stoplights to not knowing the friction zone, all of these are mistakes that can be corrected with awareness and a little practice. But the ones coming up are more subtle, the ones almost no one identifies as problems, and yet they are what make the difference between a rider who masters their machine and one who just goes along for the ride. Let's look at them. Error number 4. Riding with your fingers resting on the clutch lever. This is the clutch's silent killer. Many develop the habit of riding with 2 fingers resting on the clutch lever while they ride. Some call it the rider's nervous tick. It seems harmless, right? Well, it's not. Even that minimal pressure from your fingers without you realizing it is slightly disengaging the internal plates. They are constantly slipping against each other, even if just a little. The result is wasted power, increased system temperature, unnecessary friction, and your clutch slowly frying without you noticing. It's like leaving a light on all day. It consumes energy for no reason and eventually burns out faster. Your clutch does exactly the same thing. The rule is simple. The clutch should only be used when necessary. The system must be either fully engaged or fully disengaged. There's no valid middle ground. Trust your technique. Use the clutch only for starting, shifting, and stopping. The rest of the time, keep your hands off that lever. You're going to feel weird at first. I know. You're going to want to put your fingers there out of a false sense of security. Resist that temptation. In 2 weeks, it becomes a natural habit, and your clutch will last years longer than it would with that bad habit. Error number 3. Pulling the clutch lever all the way to the grip when shifting. This is pure mechanical inefficiency. You're riding along, you're about to shift gears, and you pull the clutch lever all the way to the grip like you're strangling someone. What's wrong with that? Once you pass the friction zone, the clutch is already fully disengaged. Everything else you pull on the lever does absolutely nothing useful. It's wasted movement, wasted energy. It's like turning on a faucet all the way when you only need a trickle. By pulling the lever more than necessary, you lengthen the time the rear wheel is without engine power, and when you release it, the engagement is more abrupt and less smooth, causing unnecessary wear on the entire system. Slower shifts, less smooth, and more abrasive. The professional technique consists of learning the minimum distance needed to fully disengage the engine. You only need to go a little past the friction zone, and that's it. Use only that amount of lever travel. Precision here is key. Faster shifts, smoother shifts, less wear. It's like the difference between a surgeon and someone trying to cut with a machete. Both cut, but one does it with precision and control. Practice this at low speeds, first, second, third, fourth. Feel that minimum point where the clutch disengages. Over time, your shifts will become so smooth that your passengers won't even notice when you change gears. Error number 2. Using only the clutch and throttle in slow maneuvers, ignoring the rear brake. This is the mistake that separates beginners from those who truly know how to control their bike. In heavy traffic or tight low-speed corners, most riders only use the clutch and throttle to maintain slow speed, and it's a huge mistake. What happens? The bike becomes unstable, hard to control. You feel wobbly, like you're learning to ride a bicycle all over again. That feeling that the bike has a mind of its own, and that you're going to lose your balance at any moment. Here's the secret that professionals use. It's a combination of 3 elements working in harmony. First, the clutch at the friction zone. Second, constant, light throttle without letting off or over-revving. And third, and here's the magic, gentle, steady pressure on the rear brake. This stabilizes the chassis and gives you absolute control over the bike. Think of it this way. The clutch and throttle keep the bike moving forward. The rear brake is like your stability anchor. It controls how fast or slow you go and smooths out the entire motion. Practice this in an empty parking lot. Put the bike in first gear, find the friction zone, give it a little throttle, and then use the rear brake to control your speed while making slow circles. At first, it will feel strange, like you're fighting the bike. But after 15 minutes of practice, you'll feel that magical control where the bike does exactly what you want. This technique will save you in parking lots, in tight U-turns, and in those traffic moments where you need to move slowly without having to put your feet down every 2 seconds. Error number 1. Never adjusting the clutch lever free play. And we've reached error number 1, the most ignored of all, and yet the one that causes the most problems in the long run. Most riders never adjust their clutch lever free play, that small amount of slack the lever should have before it starts pulling the cable. If the lever is too tight, with no free play, you're riding with the clutch slightly disengaged all the time. The plates are constantly slipping, generating heat and accelerated wear. If, on the other hand, it has too much play, the lever doesn't pull the cable enough when you squeeze it, and the clutch doesn't fully disengage, making shifts hard and causing the bike to creep when you have the lever pulled in at a stoplight. The solution is so simple it hurts. Check the clutch cable adjustment every few months. Most bikes should have between 2 and 3 millimeters of free play at the lever before you feel cable tension. If you don't have that play, loosen the lock nut on the cable and adjust the adjuster until you get the correct slack. It takes you 2 minutes with a wrench and possibly a pair of pliers, and that small adjustment can extend the life of your clutch by years. A properly adjusted clutch cable means that when you pull the lever, the system fully disengages, and when you release it, it fully engages, with no middle ground. Precision in this adjustment is what separates those who change their clutch every 12,000 miles from those who change it every 36,000. There you have them. The 8 critical clutch mistakes that most beginners make without realizing it. If this video helped you, share it with that friend who is also learning and who is probably doing exactly what you used to do before watching this. See you in the next one, where we'll keep improving your technique so you can enjoy your bike to the fullest and get home safely. See you on the road.